Hey, this video is part 2 of our 4-part video series about the 4 stages of success as a transformational coach. This is all about immersion. Stay dry. So today we're going to talk about the second stage of success as a neuro-transformational coach. So that means if you want to do the deep work coaching, you don't have to. And if you don't want to do the deep work coaching, that's totally fine. Then you don't have to pay attention to this. But if you want to do the deep work coaching, there are just different things involved. If you're selling a certain kind of product, you have to understand the product, the people that are interested in that product. Why would somebody say yes to deep dive coaching? And it's different than why somebody would say yes to a marketing program, or why somebody would say yes to how to save money or how to make money in the stock market. It's just different. So you have to follow a recipe that is aligned both for you as the coach, but for them as the prospect. And if you're not following an aligned recipe, you just have no chance, right? No. Even if you get really good at the wrong path, you'll still end up in the wrong place. Yeah. And I think that's what is the biggest issue in the coaching market, is not people are doing the wrong things. People are doing the right misaligned things. Ooh. So they're right for somebody somewhere. They're just misaligned for you. Right. So if you want to do this deep work coaching, and if you do, let us know. I mean, I'd love to know that there are some people out there that do want to do the deep work coaching, because underneath every human behavior is a human with all of the systems that created the behavior and all the conflicts and beliefs and stories and traumas and all the things. By the way, if you missed the 5-part video series on how to change a life, we dive into all of that stuff. And if any of you want one-on-one support, meaning just a free consultation to figure out where you are and what your next step should be based on where you are, then book a free call. CoachSeanSmith.com/book my call.
Which is the only way to have an aligned recipe, not to necessarily book a call, but to know where you are in the process and get that individual support, which is why that's so important.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And we're not really good as humans at looking at ourselves objectively and saying, this is where we are and this is what we need. What'd you say?
Speak for yourself.
Okay. Well, Michelle is the only good human at looking at herself objectively and being able to coach herself and get the most out of herself, and with no protective mechanisms or ego involved or whatever. But if you're not Michelle Moore, then oh well. Sorry about that. But what it means is that you do need to truly understand. I don't want to go into it. I mean, I do want to go into it, but just for the sake of time. But just the idea that we are chasing so much protection from the truth, and wishing you were different or wishing you were in a different place actually doesn't make it so. So wherever your business is, I think most coaches are in the survival mode in business. Wishing you weren't in survival won't get you out of it. And wishing you could go from survival to success won't allow you to do it. Truth is the truth, no matter what you think about it. But if you don't really understand the truth of who you are, where you are, what you need, what you have deficiencies around in terms of business skills or whatever, then if you don't embrace where you are, you'll never get to the next step, because it's just impossible without knowing where you are right now. So this 4-step diagnostic framework came to me this last weekend. And I'm constantly doing this, and we're constantly teaching this stuff in our videos. Like, what causes neurological transformational coaches, neuro-transformational coaches, those of you that want to do the deep work, you want to scuba dive with people and really fully change lives at a deep fundamental level. What causes them to succeed? What causes them to fail? How do you go from one step to the next? And I just wanted to highlight this, illuminate this whole process. So yesterday we talked about stage 1, which is information. And it's usually introductory information. You get excited about something, you go, okay, I want to learn about that thing. And then you start learning about it. And the information is the first step. It is a required step. It's just not the final step. It's just the first step. So information can only get you so far. It will never give you certainty in yourself. It doesn't have the capacity to do that. And the main reason that most coaches don't succeed is because they don't have certainty in themselves. So if you've only done stage 1 learning and you want to achieve an outcome that requires certainty in yourself, you cannot win. You just can't. Because stage 1 learning, just introductory information and a little bit of implementation on that information, especially on your own or with peers who are at the same stage as you, that's like getting together with other first graders if you're in first grade and going, hey, can you teach me second grade math? No, because I'm also in first grade with you. I'm to the left of you in the seats. So stage 1 is required. It's just not sufficient on its own to get you to the higher levels that will produce what you need to be successful as a coach, but as a coaching business. So and again, if you didn't watch that video, you can watch the video. But for those of you that watch the video, let me know if you feel like you're in stage 1. And what that means is and there's nothing wrong with stage 1. This doesn't mean you're a loser. It doesn't mean you're a beginner. It just means this is the only thing that you've gotten into, right? Like if you want to be in law, a lawyer, and I go, have you taken law school? And you go, no, there's no shame in that. That just means you haven't taken law school. Right. But then if you tell me, yeah, but I'm trying to get clients, well, that's not going to happen. You kind of need to go to law school first. So there's no shame in wherever you are. If you've only done informational learning and a little bit of implementation on that, then you're in stage 1. What you need to increase what stage 1 cannot provide you is to go to stage 2. And stage 2, what'd you say? Bingo?
Bingo.
Right. Stage 2 is immersion, but it's immersion and implementation. So it's an immersive implementation process. In the coaching industry, that is in person or online deep dive certification. That's what it is. It's not just watching demonstrations of coaching techniques, especially when a lot of them are edited and polished and they're not even real. You don't see them from start to finish. It's not working for 200 hours on the implementation and just implementing, or the information rather, and just implementing it on your own. When you are in an immersive environment, you are there with a lot of other people. You're there hopefully with experts in the room. Not just experts teaching, but experts in the room also that have come back and are continuing their own education. And when you are immersed like that, you'll be in the ocean of transformation. And you can't be in the ocean of transformation and not be influenced by everything that's in the ocean. You're going to rise with the tides of the ocean, but you're also going to learn a lot that the information simply cannot provide. And your own, even if you have a coach, but your own perspective is only you and your coach, that myopic, single focus perspective also cannot provide what immersion can. So if you have not taken a live event, whether it's in person or online, multi-day, deep dive certification, then you cannot have what only that can provide. Now, I've done, I think it's probably close to 500 days in seminars, in seminar rooms. I would guess 300 of those are from the front of the room leading it, and probably 200 are in the seats participating. So I'm speaking to you not from theory. I'm speaking to you from looking back wisdom, going, when did I make this shift from confidence to certainty? Oh, it was after live events.
Right.
There are certain things that only live events can provide for you. But we have this mechanism in our brain that will always try to be the only one that can do things that nobody else can do, because that makes us feel better about ourselves if we can do the thing that everybody says it can't be done. I know you don't know anything about that, Michelle. But
right.
We also have a mechanism in our brain that wants to get where we want to go in the shortest amount of time, energy, and money possible. So if you've tried to build a coaching business off nothing but information, congratulations, you're human. Most of us try to do it too. It's not shameful. It's just the way this brain operates. When you bump up against the ceiling, it's just simply time to go to stage 2. It's not time to then punish yourself. And especially when you got a lot of people telling you that this should be all you need. You know, if you were just like me, this is all you need. But you got to recognize, if you're in the game to do deep work coaching, then marketing templates from marketers who teach marketers how to market to marketers, that ain't going to work for you, because that's not your product. And you are needing trust. You're needing connection. You're needing rapport. You're needing a whole lot more things for people to say yes to you than the marketers are for people to say yes to them. So again, that's the right recipe for them, and it's misaligned for you. All right. What do you want to add to any of this so far before I keep going?
Well, it came to me earlier. It's just, lemon seeds won't grow apple trees. So if knowing where you are is really important, so that you can just monitor your expectations for the results that you're getting, so that you can enjoy the process longer. And what I know for sure is that a human who's miserable in the process isn't going to want to continue with the process. And so really understanding, right? Like, we wouldn't want that child who doesn't know how to drive to be angry at themselves and feel like a loser because they don't know how to drive on the highway. Like, they're just not there yet. It's nothing against them as an individual. And when you're inside of this ocean experience of transformation, like, you can't not get wet. Like, when you're in the ocean, right? Like, if you're standing, if we thought about like the first stage, right, of the information, of the introductory information, as like being in the shower, right? I can stand in a certain part of my shower and actually not get wet, or just get like a little drop on me. But if you took me and put me in the ocean, you can't not get wet. Like, you can't not have that experience in your body. And when that experience is in your body, it's going to influence how you interact with the people around you.
Yeah, it's a really important piece. There's just influence in the immersion that you can't resist. And some of it's working at an unconscious level, some of it's working at a conscious level. So here's my blunt reality. If you choose to not do immersive training, you are choosing to fail. That's just my blunt, bold truth, based on 18 years in this industry, and I've never seen it happen. Not with deep work coaching. You want to teach people how to make money on Amazon? Great. You don't have to do this stuff. But if you want the fundamental life-changing kind of coaching skill set, and you choose not to do immersion training, you're choosing to fail. If you choose not to do it with us, that's fine. But if you choose not to do the thing that's required, you're choosing to fail. Now, I don't mean for that to come out with shame or dismissiveness, and it's not always easy to just, take 3 days or 5 days or 10 days or whatever. I get it. I know it's not easy. And
part of it.
And it's part of it. And, when I said yes to my training, it was 21 straight days. And I'm not going to say, because I did it, anybody can do it. I don't have that level of shallowness. So what inconvenience looks like to all of us is different. There are financial considerations, there are time considerations, there are parenting considerations, there are all kinds of considerations. And I don't in any way want to be dismissive or mean or shameful or any of that stuff. And if you want to be a lawyer, you got to take the law. You got to pass the bar exam. Some things are just that simple. And so my invitation to you is that it's not a question of, can you get around it? It's a question of, how can you do it?
Right.
And whatever that looks like, do it. If your goal is if you're committed to that goal. And again, I hesitate to even say some of this stuff because I think there's so much, I'm going to call it abuse. I think there's a lot of abuse in the personal development industry that basically says, if you're not where you're at, then you're not believing big enough, and you're just not disciplined enough, and you're not committed, and you got to be committed. And there's a piece of that kind of surface level, high energy, hypey motivation that's absolutely true and absolutely necessary for us. And you're not just going to be committed and believe and then achieve everything against a lot of systems that you have going on in your life. So I'm not coming to you from that place. Like, you're just not committed. And if you were committed, shame on you if you're not. But if you were, then you would do the thing, and you would buy my program, and you would come to my event, and you would get everything that you want in life, and you would have this jet and this mansion. That's not where I'm coming from. And there is a blunt reality called, if you want this outcome, you must follow the path that can only lead to that outcome.
That's the thing.
So that's the kind of commitment that I'm talking about. The commitment that says, if I want that thing, I need to do whatever it takes to get that thing. And that could be different for all of you. What do you want to add?
I mean, it's one of my favorite personal mantras, which is my advocacy personally is that I just want you to not be upset about results you're not getting from work you're not doing.
Yeah, let's repeat that.
Yeah. I just want you, we just want you inside of that statement, right? Of you're choosing to fail, if you're choosing to not do immersive training, is that I don't want you to get upset about results, stage 4 results, stage 2 results that you're not getting because of work that you're not doing. Meaning, if you're in stage 1, you're going to get stage 1 results, and those are fine results. What happens to a lot of coaches is they get frustrated because they have expectations of and believe all of the marketing stuff that you were talking about earlier, Sean, that stage 4 results are possible. Stage 4 certainty, stage 4 embodiment is possible when you're in stage 1. And so then that's when we feel like a failure. That's when we feel like a loser. That's when we feel like there's something wrong with us and we need to just believe more, because if we did, we would get it. No, you get stage 1 results in stage 1. You get stage 2 results in stage 2. So if you're not able for whatever reason to take that next step, then my advocacy is I want you to shift your expectations so you can be happy, so you can have a coaching business that you love, so you can feel good about where you are while you're doing what you need to do to save the money or create the time to make the thing happen, to go to the next stage. I'll stop after this, but we're in such a hurry. We're in such a race to get to the thing that we think there's this urgency that everything has to be done yesterday and that we're running out of time. And it's just not true. So we think short term and we try to skip the steps, and then we get disappointed, and then we don't want to do it anymore because it doesn't feel good.
And that is part of the human journey. So if that's landing for any of you, first of all, let us know. If you recognize that you're frustrated because you're not getting results from the work that you just haven't been doing, if you understand that there's just more work, honestly, congratulations, because that means you care enough about what you want to create the frustration. Mm-hmm. You'll never be frustrated about anything you don't care about. So that frustration is actually confirmation of your give a damn. Awesome. Just don't use the frustration as the quitting sign. Use the frustration as the figuring it out sign. Like you said, save the money, create the time, plan out, do whatever you've got to do, because we as humans are also capable of doing anything that's important enough to us and possible to do. We have the ability to do it. It might not be on somebody else's time frame, but it is possible. And that's what we advocate for. And it's not the sexy stuff, right? The sexy stuff is stage 4 results from stage 1 work. Yeah. And you know what? We'll stop there because there's more stuff that we want to say. So when you get to the immersion stage, it's the only place that you can start having confidence in yourself. And certainty in the work. So one of the really critical pieces of this diagnostic 4-stage framework is to understand that your value, your trust, your feeling of the work goes faster than your feeling, trust, and value of yourself. So stage 1, confidence in yourself isn't even there because you're just learning information. So you have confidence in the information. Stage 2, confidence in the work becomes certainty in the work because of all the things you see in the immersion. And now you start to get confidence in yourself because you're practicing some of the work. Stage 3 shifts it all again. Stage 3 is really the only way you can get certainty in yourself.
Right.
And then conviction in the work. We'll talk about that in the next couple of videos in the next few stages. But I just want you to understand that it's a trailing effect. And that's also extremely critical because our brain is driven by the information. So when our body is trailing our brain, that's what creates so much of the frustration. It's like, I believe in this stuff. How come it's not working for me? Well, because you don't believe in you delivering this stuff. That's why. And then there's a third thing that we'll talk about in future videos. The third thing is really the marketing and messaging side of actually building your business. So we've got 3 components here. It's literally, it's like 3 cars on a train. They can't go side by side. They cannot. You can't learn side by side like that and get all of them just knocked out. They go in order because it's the only way they can go. One trails the other and the third trails the second. That's just the way it goes. So if the work and then the self and then the messaging and the marketing are 3 in a row and you want to be successful, you need to get the third car past the line. Not just half of the first one. What I want to do to extend this this understanding of the immersion is to tell you about our immersion program. I mean, we wouldn't believe that this is what people need and not provide it for them, right? So I learned early on that live events are where all of my biggest breakthroughs happened as a human. So that's when I started to do live events.
Yeah.
Then I learned that live event certifications is where I really dove in my coaching journey. So that's when I decided to do certification. I think the first one was maybe 2012 or 2013. So I've been doing these certifications for 10 years. That means there's been 10 years of iterations to them.
Yeah.
And what I'm really proud to say is over the last few years, there hasn't been many changes because we've gotten it to the point where it's actually producing the results that this immersion training can produce. And I'm extremely not just proud of that, but because of that, I can also be really bold, and I know Michelle feels this as well, about what people are going to experience in this 5-day immersion training.
Yeah.
We can't promise what anybody's actually going to do afterwards. You know, that you have the choice to make your own behavior decisions, obviously, but we pretty much can, I mean, almost guarantee we know what this machine produces because we've been doing it over and over and over and over again. So in our world, this immersion training is called ECCP. I'll share my screen here and show you a few slides. So ECCP is 5 days of deep dives, like scuba dive experiential learning, all the stuff that we've been talking about. Comprehension. We teach to comprehension. We don't just teach to comfort. We don't teach to emotional or intellectual satisfaction. We teach to comprehension. Because if you don't really fully comprehend something, which is a deeper level of understanding, you can't control it. You're going to go out into the world. The wind is going to be blowing harder than you expected, and your umbrella is going to flip backwards, and then you're just going to go back inside. That's just the way that you know, humans work. So you've got to understand this work at a deep, full immersion level. There are 4 levels of mastery. There's information that you get. There are demos that you see. There is the experience as a client when you are practicing, and then there's the experience as the coach. when you are practicing. The fifth one is what we've talked about, just energetically, that you can't not be influenced by this work. So that's even a fifth level, really, of the immersion piece. And there's a certification at the end of it. It's called Neuro-Transformational Results Coach, which is our brand. You can have more information if you want. You can go to the website, coachshansmith.com/ECCP. We also want you to know about the program a little bit. Jennifer Bussell said she grew more in 5 days than she had in 5 years. And we get a lot of people that say they've been in therapy, they've been in counseling, they've been in other programs, they've been in NLP trainings, and there's just something that they've been missing. I think one of the things they've been missing is this immersion piece that we've been talking about, but also it's the come from, right? Again, like I said a moment ago, we teach to comprehension, but we teach the human. Coaching is only valuable if you understand the human that you want to coach. So what's missing in a lot of coaching programs, it was missing in my coaching program, is the focus is on what to do as the coach, but not how to understand the human.
Right.
Because if you don't really understand the human, then your trust in a certain exercise won't matter if the human doesn't follow the script.
Right.
One of the things that we always say is your coaching script never survives collision with a human. Right. Never. It will never go the way that it's supposed to go according to the script. So if you don't understand the human, then you really can't do this work. You have to understand some of the deeper levels of neurotransformational coaching and what causes people to change their lives and what caused them to say yes to coaching and what caused them to say no. You got to understand all of these things. So we also pride ourselves in teaching so much more about the holistic understanding of human behavior, which means just taking the whole human into consideration, and then use your coaching skills, your ninja magic Jedi mind trick coaching skills to help a human change their life. But you can't do that if you don't understand the human. So that's one of the things that is really critical that we teach at ECCP. And that's why a lot of people...
No, you go ahead. Well, I was just going to say, I wanted to share when you were talking about the training piece, one of our students was also trained in NLP coaching and said that
master practice.
Absolutely. That during the course that she had so many, this is a quote, I had so many aha moments. I was in tears 3/4 of the time because I suddenly understood what I had been previously trained in and didn't know how to use. Neurotransformational coaching is different than NLP. And having said that, I now have the power to understand NLP and how to use it in a way to set clients free in a relatively short period in time, which is exactly what you were just saying.
That's a pretty good testimonial. Yeah, that's, I mean, not just of our course. Obviously, I like the fact that she's talking about our course, but just of some of the things we've been talking about. So she understood the tools, but didn't understand the process of coaching. And I think it was 10 years that she had been sitting on that certification, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can be prepared with all of the tools and still not understand how to use them, when to use them, why to use them, who to use them with, and who to use something else with. And that's what's missing in so many people's experience. And that's why there's not certainty. So, I don't know that we've alluded to this, but I think we need to really clearly, explicitly say this. So part of the certainty that you get with a deep dive training like this about human behavior is you get certainty in the other human as well. And that goes hand in hand with certainty in the work, but you get certainty in the power of humans to change their lives. Yes. And when you really fully understand that the humans can change their lives, and then you become certain in yourself to be able to facilitate that, that's when that's when your life changes. That's when your business changes. That's when your marketing changes. That's when your prices might change depending on where you are in the process. That's where everything changes. Everything changes. And just most people don't, they just don't get to that point. So A few more things about ECCP. It's online, as I said. You're going to have at least 20 coaching tools, exercise strategies, extensive reference manual. It's like a 180-page manual that we have for you to dive into, for you to use as a reference tool. The 4 levels of mastery that I talked about. There's the website if you want to go check it out. During the course of the week, we're going to do a lot of the inner work exercises that help people with their beliefs, with their conflicts, with their values, with all the seeds that are deeply planted inside of our human programming that you have to understand, because you cannot change a system. Let me say it the other way. You cannot change a symptom, but not change the system that created the symptom and have any kind of long-term effect. If the system doesn't change, the symptoms cannot change long-term. They can only be false changed, right? You can only paint stuff over, but you're not ever going to actually change what's being produced. So that's the inner work exercises. We work a lot with guilt and shame, which is one of the heaviest balls and chains that humans are carrying around. Keys to overcoming limiting beliefs, creating expanded awareness so that you see more in your life in terms of resources and solutions and all the things that we generally don't see because we're so focused on the problems. We talk about releasing pain. We do something that is a trademark of NLP called timeline therapy, and so much more. It's really difficult to pack into a slide presentation or even a 30-minute video what happens at ECCP. And one of the reasons also is that each one of them are different. Yeah. You know, the path that we get to things, how we get to things, the stories that are told are all a function of the humans in the room. And that's also really important if you want to support humans going forward. Learning with humans in a kind of a flowy, flexible, sometimes messy kind of environment is critical, because that's what it's going to be like when you're out there in coaching, right? So I'm just going to give you some of the numbers. I want to be upfront with you guys what you're looking at. The pay in full package for ECCP is $24.97. It used to be $5,000. That's what Michelle paid for it. We've come back to the market somewhat, and we want to support you as best we can. So you also going to get an online program. For those of you that aren't familiar with our BCC online program, that's included in ECCP, because that's step 1. That's stage 1 that we talked about in the other video. Stage 1 is the BCC online go at your own pace program. Stage 2 is ECCP full immersion. So that $2,500 price includes BCC. If you've already purchased BCC, we only ask you to cover the difference. So it's only the $2,000 more. We're not trying to finagle you and hype, pressure sell people and stuff like that. Like, this is what it is. If you want the deep dive study, if that's the kind of person that you are and you understand the foundational certainty that's required, great. This is what we do. And you're either in or you're out. We give full back money guarantees all the time as well. Or we offer it with all of our programs. We very rarely
give them
fund people because people don't ask. But we don't want to take your money and, if it's not a good fit for you. So that is ECCP in a slide nutshell, in a slideshell. Well, if you like this video, check out that video right there. It's part 3 of these 4 stages. Hope you're getting it. And we hear this a lot. I hear this a lot with people that want to be coaches or that want to be entrepreneurs. They go, listen, I'm a fantastic student. If you tell me exactly what to do, I'm going to do it. And in my mind, I go, okay, that's great. And that won't build any